Hello and welcome to the Pleasurepreneur Podcast. This podcast will help you create what you desire in your business with pleasure. Whether that be calling in your ideal clients, making more money, or creating a balanced business life blend. I'm your host, Regan, pleasure and business coach, published author of A Mother's Pleasure, wife and mama to 3 little wildlings. However you're choosing to listen to this podcast, ask yourself, how can I make this more pleasurable? And do just that. I acknowledge the custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded and produced, the Wadi Wadi people of Dharawal land. Now, let's proceed with pleasure. Hi. Welcome to today's podcast episode. If you are a newbie here, hello and welcome. You might have found me on a reel that I shared that went bonkers. We're going to talk a bit about that today, but also welcome back if you are a regular listener. So I shared this reel, right? And it's kind of funny. It's me going for a morning walk, and I'll pop the link in the show notes, but it's me going for a morning walk and I'm like videoing myself. And instead of saying morning to strangers as I'm walking past, I'm saying whoring, like just to be silly, just to be funny. And I do these funny little things, not like all day long or anything, but I do allow myself to be a little bit goofy and a little bit silly and have some fun and not take things so seriously, both in my life and business. And I think we could all use a little bit of that right now. And I think we could all use that in our business. And the reason why is because when we are trying to be really serious in our business, when we are doing things that we feel like we should do, or working hard because that's what leads to success, like when we are operating our business out of a place that feels like obligation, or just doing things that we think we have to do, or operating from a lens of fear and scarcity, like I have to do it this way or otherwise I'm not going to call in clients or whatever it might be, that actually impacts the success of our business and our felt sense within our body. You know, that impacts how fulfilled we feel, how rewarded we feel by our businesses, how good we feel in ourselves, and then obviously our energy. You know, if you're trying to operate a business that just feels boring, like maybe you're bored by, I want to say maybe you're bored by the clients that you're working with, but then I thought, no, that sounds too harsh. But it's like, no, like sometimes we realize that we're still calling in clients that we did once want to call in, but actually they're not lining us up anymore because we're not doing the kind of work with our clients that we want to be doing. We're finding it boring. Maybe you feel like you've been saying the same thing in your content over and over again and you feel bored of yourself. Maybe the structure that you have for whatever it is that you offer, whether that's a program or coaching or mentoring, maybe you feel bored by that and locked in. Yeah. Or maybe you are showing up in a really serious manner. You've got to show up on socials really seriously and you can't make any kind of mistakes in your content, whether it's written or verbal, because you're taking it so seriously. It's got to be like, in quotations, professional, you know? That is going to drain us. That's going to take our energy. That is not going to light us up. That's not going to access our pleasure. It's not going to tap into our reward system. It's not going to motivate us or have us feel excited or engaged or actually want to take actions that will lead to the results we want to create in our business. So not only do you today get to have, I've got a little activity I'm going to invite you to play with after you listen to this podcast, but not only are you going to have that, but also I want to remind you that not only do you get to have a little bit of fun in your business, but that it actually helps you. It actually helps your business become way more profitable and sustainable and obviously pleasurable. Yeah? So think about right now, like, what are some of the things that feel fun for you? And maybe your answer is like, oh, actually, I don't know what feels fun for me anymore. Maybe because you haven't done anything fun lately, you're trying to just do all of the things that life is demanding of you. And maybe because you have gotten into that idea that you need to be serious in your business and not have fun. Yeah. That was like me. And that's what I shared in my Instagram reel that went kind of viral. How, I was actually quite a comedic kid. Like I was really funny. I still think I am funny. Maybe you think I'm funny. Maybe you think I don't. But anyway, I think I'm funny. That's all that matters, right? That our opinions of ourselves should be more important than those of opinions of others of ourselves, right? Of us. Can you tell I haven't scripted this podcast episode? Anyway, so I used to be a funny kid. I used to do silly things, ridiculous things, goofy things. And I still remember like at dancing, I grew up dancing. I was a professional dancer there for a while. And I don't think people took me seriously. I think it was because I was quite goofy. I wasn't serious. And I noticed that in different areas as well, like school, etc. And so when it came to me building my business and operating my business, I took on, I suppose, this cultural norm that business needs to be serious and professional, in quotations, whatever that means. So yeah, I tried to kind of morph myself into that mold a little bit, which meant like dampening down my funny and, turning up my serious. And yeah, it didn't really feel great for me. And remember, the number one thing that I prioritized and the kind of condition that I gave myself in order to let myself launch my own business was that it had to bring me pleasure. It had to feel good for me. It didn't drain me. It didn't deplete me. It didn't risk me having perinatal mood disorders again. It needed to bring me pleasure and, really be led by my desires. So yeah, this for me was part of, I suppose, the reasons why I acknowledged and noticed that I was trying to be serious, more serious than my usual self. And I was dampening down my funny, my silly, my goofy, just having funness. That's not a word, I know. And I wanted to bring more of that back. And so I've been doing that over the last probably couple of years now. I think too, it helped when I started to call in more clients and make more money. It gave me a little bit more of that confidence, which obviously we don't want to rely on that confidence coming from us externally. But that's not to say I wasn't positively impacted by it. And I started to kind of let myself be even more me, whether that's online or just in my life or in my business. And I discovered actually the more I could embrace all parts of me and just be me, the more I created like a doorway for my most ideal clients and the kind of women who I love spending time with and having conversations with and supporting. It created this doorway for them to come in. And so part of this, you might even hear, like I reckon if you probably scroll back to my very first podcast, I've had my podcast for about 5 or 6 years now. It's had its different iterations and breaks, but I think I probably sounded a lot more serious back then. Yeah. And so it's nice to say that I am having more fun now. And I have discovered both from my clients as well as, even just from this reel that I shared, that a lot of you are craving a lot more fun in your business and in your life. There's elements that you're really quite bored with when it comes to your business, and you're taking things really seriously and it's not fun for you. It's losing that lightness. It's actually draining you and making it feel heavy. So I wonder for you, conduct a mini audit. Where in your business are you doing things that really fucking bore you? Where are you doing things in your business out of obligation? What are the things that you're, trying to take really seriously that don't feel good for you? This will be impacting you. If you're bored by what you're talking about, if you feel drained by your clients, you're actually not going to be showing up and selling because you don't want more of your business. You don't want more clients that bore you or drain you or stress you out. You don't want to sell more of your products or services or packages, programs, if they are feeling really heavy, if they drain you, if they leave you feeling exhausted by the end of the day with nothing left to give to your kids, your family, yourself. That is going to actually impact the rate of growth of your business. It's going to impact the ease of calling in clients. It's going to impact your income because you're fucking bored. You don't want more boredom. You don't want more hard. You don't want more serious. And if you do, well, then I guess this episode's not for you. But yeah, if you don't want more bored, more serious, more hard, more heavy, then let's bring some fun in. Let's bring some silliness. Now, you might not want to be addressing your clients or your customers by saying good whoring in the mornings. Maybe not, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, like once you have considered like, what is it that's boring you? What feels heavy? What is it that feels like obligation? What are you doing, that's really serious that you actually don't want to do anymore? And then the next step is, how can you make it more fun? How can you make it lighter? How can you let it not be so serious? Now, I can imagine that when you consider these things, it's probably not super easy to be like, oh, great, I'll just do A, B, and C, and I'll just apply that now and integrate that. And that's because I bet you have some stories around what it means to be silly or have fun or like not be taken seriously. Yeah. It's probably very similar to your pleasure stories. You know, are you even allowed to enjoy your business? Are you allowed to have fun in your business? Are you allowed to not take it seriously and still have epic income, sign amazing clients, and have a really successful business that's both profitable and sustainable and obviously enjoyable? Yeah, I want you to get curious about why not? Why can't you have a business that is successful, whatever that means for you? Why can't you have a business that's successful, not in spite of having fun and enjoying yourself and having this lightness, not in spite of the fun, but because of it? Why can't you? Let the stories come to the surface. Yeah? Ask them, like ask yourself, like, is this true? Sometimes these stories, when we say them out loud, and this is why coaching is so powerful, when we say it out loud, we're like, oh my God, that's actually so ridiculous. I don't know why I was scaffolding my life around this particular belief, you know? And let me be an example of evidence for you. Yeah. So question what you're thinking about, like why you can't have a super successful or whatever it is for you, why you can't have an incredible business because of the fun you have in it. And then consider, well, what else is available to me in terms of evidence? Like, what evidence is there that you can have a successful business because it's fun, because you enjoy, because of the pleasure? Girl in the front row, I've got my hand up. The more fun I have in my business, the more pleasure I bring into my business, into my life, the more relaxed and light and less serious and bored I am in my business, the more easy it is for me to call in clients. The more in alignment I feel, the more authentic I feel as like me showing up. Yeah. So I want you to consider like, who is out there that you know of that's having fun in their business and creating success because of it? Like, I want you to start to see that you can bank this evidence to help support your new belief that you get to have fun in your business. Another way you can collect that evidence is by considering, well, where in the past have you, and this doesn't necessarily need to be in your business, where in the past have you had fun and not taken things so seriously and let it be light and playful and pleasurable, and you've gotten an even better result than you thought, or even you've just gotten the result that you wanted? Yeah, where have things worked out beautifully because of that energy? And then lastly, here's the little activity that I want you to play with. Well, I'm going to invite you to play with. I want you to ask the question, what would Pru do? What would Pru do? Quick story. I had a client once and I was like, okay, we were doing some identity work and I was like, let's embrace the version of you that's really audacious and playful and adventurous and like gives zero fucks, right? What would she do? And she said, oh, you know what? I've got a friend called Prue and like she's got these amazing like boundaries, and she shared about a number of these things. So we're like, great, what would Prue do? And it's been something I've carried with me to share with my clients. So imagine Prue as this persona who is running her business and it's so fun for her and she's not taking it seriously, and clients are coming in and she's having such great time with her clients and doing the work that she's doing. Let's embody Prue for a minute. What's your version of that? What's your version of Prue, and what would she do? Like, if you knew it was going to work no matter what, if you were going to sign all the clients you want to sign, if you were going to call in all the money you wanted to call in, if you're going to feel amazing and create such impact and whatever it is that you want to do in your business, if you knew that was going to work no matter what would you be doing as Prue? Are you like offering like all of a sudden incredible in-person experiences? Are you writing a book? Are you reaching out to podcasts that seem so big that like they would never accept you, right? Like, what would Pru do? What are some of the fun things, audacious things, playful, pleasurable things that you would be doing in your business, bringing into your business if you were Pru or that version of you? Now, I want you to come up with a list, right? I want them to be like as wild and out there and delusional as possible, but you might also start out with some that just feel like a little bit edgy, right? Come up with at least 20. What we're doing here is we're activating that solutions part of our brain to give us ideas. Now, full disclosure, you do not need to follow through with any of these things on the list, right? You might want to start, I don't know, maybe one of the things like Prue would do would be like, I don't know, host some kind of super elaborate event that was just like, I don't know, I can't even think of anything super crazy right now. But maybe you've got something that you're like, oh my gosh, that's so super crazy, but it's an idea. Jot it down. You don't have to follow through with it. But what you're going to do from this 20 at least list of ideas is there'll be a couple in there that you're like, oh, I could do that. Or like, oh, I could easily weave that in. That's definitely doable. Yeah. So play with that. Let's make it playful. Let's make it light. Let's stop assuming that we need to be serious, that work needs to be hard, that boring is just part of running a business. And let's start to make our own evidence and have our own experiences where we see that actually, when we have more fun, when it's more playful, when it's more pleasurable, when it's lighter, when it's enjoyable for us, we actually create better results. I cannot wait to hear from you about what it is that you are now going to weave into your business. What kind of fun or playfulness or lightness are you going to bring into your business? Come and let me know. Send me a DM. And if this feels fun for you, if this feels like, oh, if this is lighting something up in you, this is the kind of work we do in the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind. This is the whole point of the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind. It's about becoming a pleasurepreneur, about becoming someone who threads pleasure, and that's an umbrella term for fun, enjoyment, rest, relaxation, alignment, like all of the pleasurable things in your business. This is what we do. I help you to bring more pleasure into your business. And you can now join the waitlist for the next round, which will be open for early access for those on the waitlist on March 23. Now, there are going to be some really epic exclusive bonuses for those of you on the waitlist. The first one is dropping tomorrow after it's Thursday now. I'm recording, I think, the 5th. So on the 6th. So you can still get that for the next sort of short amount of time if you jump into the waitlist. So I'm going to pop a link in the show notes. Come and join the waitlist. There is some, I'm getting really excited. So this is what happens when you feel excited about what it is you're selling and you're excited about the kind of clients you're going to call in. Like you have this shout it from the rooftops energy. I cannot wait to be able to do more selling for the mastermind because it brings me so much pleasure. Not just to sell it, but because of what it is and who I'm calling in and the kind of work I get to do. It brings me so much pleasure. So it's so easeful for me to sell. And that is going to be the first freebie that everyone on the waitlist is going to get. My Pleasure Powered Sales series, where you get taken through a 5-part series of how to make selling become your most pleasurable and profitable habit. So I'm just going to leave it here because I've got to go. I'm going to leave it here because I've got babies to pick up from school. But click the link in the show notes, join the waitlist for the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind. Not only will you get the Pleasure Powered Sales series, there's also other freebies coming, including opportunities to have my eyes on your business. Obviously, you get first dibs when it is early access for the waitlist come March 23 to get into the mastermind. There's only limited spaces, bonuses, gifts. I think I've said it all, but basically the waitlist is where you just pop your email address and you get all this goodness and you can start to see whether the mastermind is for you or not. So yeah, let me spoil you. Let me help you to receive more pleasure in your business before we even get started in the mastermind. And part of that is bringing more fun into your business. Okay, I gotta go. So Thank you for joining me for this episode. Let's have more fun. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's make business way more pleasurable and playful and lighter. And let's see the kind of results we create because of it. Bye for now.